Hey everyone, and welcome to the seventh episode of our LinkedIn Live video series, Breaking New Ground. I'm Sajeesh, and I'm a part of the marketing team here at MoEngage. And before we get started, just wanted to get a few housekeeping details out of the way. First off, you can follow this session at hashtag Breaking New Ground. Do share it with your network as well, along with your own take on it. And secondly, this is a live session. So in case you have any questions or any suggestions per se, just feel free to post them in the comments below. And we'll try to address all comments and all questions at the end of the session. So today we have with us Anand. Hey, Anand.
Hi Sajeesh and hi everyone. Thanks for having me here, and I'm really excited to be part of this particular series.
Awesome. So Anand is part of the product management team at MoEngage. He's the product manager behind products like MoEngage Analytics and also user segmentation. So I'm sure all our viewers would agree that those are very important tools in a marketer's and product owner's arsenal. And more so even during these days, right? When you're asking yourself what's happening on your platform, who's doing what, and why, right? So I'm really excited to be discussing with you today on these things. But to get started, let's take a high level view of things, right?
Mhm.
What are some of the trends that you've seen happen over the last few months? And out of those trends, what do you think is here to stay, and what was temporary and you've seen changing even today?
Yeah. So Sajeesh and everyone, during COVID era, a lot of things has changed. It has affected us personally, and also it has affected a lot how we grow teams, do our business, and how we affect our consumers. So when we talk about different industries, let's say when we talk about F&B, hotel, and travel industry, these industries have had the highest impact. They were hit really badly. Mostly e-commerce also had have an impact due to COVID era. We have seen a lot more surge into food delivery apps. We have also seen a lot surge in the number of users logging into gaming apps, also media consumption apps. Also, during the COVID era, people business have came with a lot more better ideas where they have started providing the peripheral services. Let's say food deliveries apps also went into grocery deliveries as well. We have also seen that a lot of offline businesses have been moving to online. People who have never, I would say, or had a very less interaction with the laptops, now these industries also have started moving to laptops and started doing all the sessions, which are, let's say, knowledge sharing session or connecting with the peers better. Also, during this COVID time, we have seen brands do have communicated a lot with their consumer. They were informing them about how to stay well, how to get proper care, and also they were telling them about how their brand or their particular company is doing changes in their operation for the COVID era. Now, after COVID era, we have seen the growth or the economy slowly picking it up. The numbers are not as high as it was pre-COVID era, but now the surge which came into the gaming and media has has dropped a little. It is not back to the point. I would say the growth teams in gaming and media industries has done a lot better work in retaining those customers. Food and travel and F&B industries is slowly picking up, and also the e-commerce industry is also picking up. Now people who were only sticking to the essential things, now they're also moving towards a little non essential, I would say, product and services as well. But during all this, the one thing that everybody is keeping in mind, that they need to be safe and hygiene. Product and services need to be safe and hygiene. Sajeesh, would you also want to talk about few of the example that you have seen?
Sure. So I like the point that you made about safety and hygiene, and which is directly applicable to offline businesses, right?
Yeah.
So talk about retail and restaurants, the F&B section, and also banks, right? Like you mentioned, a lot of shift is happening where the businesses are going online. Banks are pushing their mobile banking app. Digital transformation was already a thing that everyone was trying to do. But this entire situation has catalyzed that and sort of brought that to the forefront as the only option, right? So the thing that some of the restaurants and retail sectors are doing for the safety of their visitors, there are a lot of security protocol in place, right? So for instance, there are foot pedals for hand sanitizers, right?
Mhm.
At
Yeah.
restaurants, they have been sharing, communicating some of that as well, right? At restaurants, the cooks, and especially for mobility services, the drivers are frequently tested, and there are like contactless thermometers, and all of that is directly integrated into your app, right? So for instance, Swiggy has been publishing all the best practices that they've been following, all the SOPs, to communicate with their customers, which I think is a very important part to gain customer trust, right? Having security protocol in place is table stakes, right? That's like step zero. But the what brands are really doing well is communicating this with their customers, telling their customers that here's a brand that cares about your safety and well-being, and in case you need to visit our offline locations, we are ready with the security and hygiene practices. But we understand your latent concerns, and we understand that you'd rather stay at home and have those food items delivered to you, or grocery items in case of other sectors, right? And even other retail services and banking services are now available in your mobile app. So I think from a marketing perspective, it's very important uh, to let consumers know, one, that you're open and back in business, but more importantly, to all of the security protocol that's happening, and that you're training your employees uh,
Yeah.
with all of that. And and that, I think, would build long lasting trust that would last beyond the COVID days, right?
Yeah.
That's how you build loyalty and customer relationships that last. I want to ask you about whether you've seen any specific examples of brands changing their strategy based on user behavior or user fears, so to
Yeah.
speak.
So I have personal experience when we were actually dealing with clients or the different growth teams. I think during the COVID era, a few of the marketers has done really a good job where they were actually informing the clients. They were sending them notification or the emails and informing the client about the overall situation, and they were also providing them the how to be safe at home. So these brands still have made a connection with their consumer, and there are a few other brands or I would say apps which were totally silent in that era, and that I would say that is not a very nice strategy to not connect with your customer. But being connected with them, they will already know that you are doing your bit in that part. So that is one piece I've seen during the COVID era. After COVID era, one particular example I would want to see that I'm a, I would say, a user of chayos. It's very close to my house, and I generally go once or twice a week to have a chai with my friend over there. So what I found that they have called me and they have told me all everything about what kind of safety precautions that they are taking, uh, and how they are making sure that everything is safe and hygiene, and how can I go over there and be feel safe about it, and actually enjoy the tea that I used to enjoy. So I'm not sure I'm going to go there really soon, but I really know that this was a really nice gesture from them, and it was really enhancing or enforcing the trust back in me that okay, I can go anytime whenever I want and have a tea over there. And I also receive a, I would say, SMS communication and the email from them stating the same. And when we look deeper into it, when we analyze this from, I would say, a growth team perspective and from a segmentation and analytics perspective, I see there is a lot more data crunching happening behind the scenes, where these guys are knowing that this is a person who is my loyal customer who visits my shops again and again. This person needs a very high, I would say, touch point. So a call was made to me, but a person who may not be regular customer, but who could just visit once in a month or so, or once in a 2 weeks, then for that customer they are still sending the SMS or email, which is still letting the or knowing them that this particular store is open. So it is a very, I would say, good move to let your loyal customer know that yeah, you are open, and also to tap the customer which may come back to your store in the longer duration. uh, Also, I would want to talk about, so this COVID has impacted various different business differently, and businesses should know their core consumer, what are their peripheral consumer, and what is their unintended consumer. So let's say when we talk about gaming app, I'll take an example of gaming app where I have a core user who are also sticking with me in the pre-COVID era. During COVID era, a lot of customers which are peripheral to my core customers, and a lot of unintended customer also started coming into the my app. So that was not intended by them, but it was forced. And when we talk about, let's say, industry which is F&B, my core customer was going out. So now when we know about all these three buckets of my core customer, peripheral customer, and my unintended customer, then after now when the lockdown is going off slowly, we can target them accordingly. So when we talk about core customer, everybody needs to target their core customers, that is for sure. But now, let's say due to COVID, we got a lot more peripheral and unintended customer. You would want to think twice about it, that you really want to target them or focus on them or not, because also the retention and engagement is also a costly affair where you would be shedding a lot of money to engaging those customer. Maybe these customers are not really interested, versus when you engage with your loyal customer who has already know your product, who have already interacted with you, may have made multiple purchases or taken your services. Now, if you engage these customers, that will be a lot more, I would say, profitable to you as compared to engaging in non-intended customers. Sajeesh, what is your views on this?
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense, especially the point that you made about engagement and retention being expensive. That couldn't be truer in these times, right? Where the funding has stopped and spends have been frozen. And moreover, productivity is not the same, right? Collaboration is not the same. And you can't just throw discounts out there to keep your loyal customers or incentivize them or even acquire new customers. So we've seen a lot of shift happening from marketers and product owners for consumer brands, where acquisition is taking care of itself, right? A lot of, like you said, there are unintended users who are coming onto your platform because of a necessity. That's one section that might not stay with you, and you have to come to terms with that. On the other end of the spectrum are your core users. Maybe the behavior of the core users has become more frequent because they're facing the issue more frequently, right? One example that you mentioned was gaming. Another example would be, let's say, video conferencing apps, right? We were using Zoom even before, but the frequency has now gone on to almost a daily basis. Now, between those two extremes is the section of users who might be facing the problem that you're trying to solve, and maybe using some makeshift methodologies to solve those problems. But now they're coming onto your platform because the problem has become much more pronounced and much more frequent, right? And they don't mind paying for your platform even to get those services. Now, like you mentioned, the it's a very effective strategy to just concentrate on the section in the middle and try to get them over the hump. And also, your loyal customers should always receive special treatment, like your example with Chios, right? So strategically, it all makes perfect sense. But let's talk about tactics, right? How would you put something like that into practice, and how would you know which are the segments that uh, you should jump on and engage with immediately, and which are the sections you should sort of incentivize to stay on your platform for longer?
Yeah, yeah. So I think as we are doing this day in and day out, I would want to present a screen right now, which is our predictive segments. So these are the segment which in this particular tool divides the entire user base into various different segments, which depending upon their recency, frequency, and monetary. So if user has interacted with you, how many times he has interacted with you, how recently he has interacted with you, and how much money he has spent with your product or service. So you can also configure the time range that you want to run this analysis on the pre-COVID time or during COVID time, and just have this particular analysis with you. Now, what this analysis is going to give us is it is going to divide my entire population into the important buckets, which based on their spend and engagement with my particular platform. So let's say when we talk about the customers which are really, really important for us, which are champions, let's say 1.5% over here, they are loyal customer, they are potential loyalist, and can't lose them. These are the buckets which are really, really high and which I can directly focus into, because these are the customers who are already using my platform. They have already availed product or services with that. Now there are another section which is price sensitive, maybe recent user, a hibernating user. These are the user who are maybe somewhere in the middle. They have used the app maybe, or may have inquired about my product and services, but may not have used it. And the third section is about to sleep or lost customers, and some of the recent customers also. Now, these customers are very less likely they might have purchased from your platform or availed the service, and they are on the verge of losing. So do not want to, you just want to just have a tap on them, but do not want to put a lot more effort on them. You would want to put a lot more effort on your champions, loyal customer, potential loyalists as well, and some bit of it on the price sensitive, hibernating, and some bit on the recent users as well. So what you can directly do from here is, let's say you want to target any of this bucket, you can just click on this and you can directly send them a campaign from here. Let's say we will have a push email or SMS campaign, and you can select a specific type about it, that smart trigger or general push you'd want to send. So from this particular dashboard, MoEngage dashboard, you can directly connect with your customer, engage them from here without any hassle. So this tool will automatically segment your customer and provide you the segment which you should be targeting for the post-COVID era. Yeah. So I think this is how this particular, I would say, tactic would work. So this we only talked about RFM. There's a lot more different model that you can also make using segmentation for your specific needs as well. So yeah, this is how we can directly send a campaign. Yes,
Makes
Sajeesh.
a lot of sense, Anand. Thanks for taking us through that, because we all understand the importance of data in understanding which segments to target and with what message and what are different user segments interested in. But these some of these models, right, might not be readily available to marketers and might not be the first thing they look for, right? Most of the segmentation happens based on hunches and intuition. So it's important to have some sort of method to the madness where all of your
Yeah.
customers are just put into a single bucket, and with the help of some sort of analysis, they segmented into such intuitive groups, right, where you know which customers are on the verge of becoming a loyal customer, right? So you can incentivize them with personalized messages, and also who's on the verge of probably churning, which
Mm-hmm.
is which is really important for you to that distinction is really important for you to make. And with all these pre-built segments, I think it's very handy for a marketer to just do what they do best, which is engage customers with the right message. So with that, we are at the 20-minute mark. I see a question coming in, which is about the banking industry. Uh, so Aarti asks, how can a banking app increase engagement with the peripheral customers? Would you like to take that, Anand?
Uh, yeah, Sajeesh. So, can you please repeat the question again?
Sure. The question is, how can a banking app, I'm assuming mobile banking, where all of the services are available, and self-serve app especially, increase engagement with peripheral customers who are not probably on mobile? Maybe they would
Yeah,
rather bank uh, with
yeah,
at a branch with a physical at
yeah.
a physical location with a person interacting and answering questions. But how can someone who installs the app be engaged?
Yeah, so I think with the banking, I would like to take an example which how Airtel is doing at this point. Now they are being very proactive in their communication that they want all of the consumer to install the app, and all of their product and services are listed around this. So when if if a user of a bank, which I have to go to my I think physical bank and do all the activities. Now, actually, I should be switching into my banking app and should be doing all these activities over there. So most of the banks do have their mobile apps, but not all of the users are actually using it at this point. So how banking can go is they can call up their loyal customers directly, and they know that these are the customers who are engaging on my platform most recently. They already have this data, and then to make their users smooth, the banking folks can tell their consumer to install their app and get all the activities that they are doing around this. Now as we know that how recently the space is evolving where the wallets are connected to the banks are connected to the shops. So all these transactions are happening very smoothly. Now with a one click, I can open a demat account, or I can open a investment account, or I can open an FD as well. So I don't need to physically visit anywhere. Everything will happen from the app. So now the getting the app on the user's device is the first, and from there, what all peripheral services that these guys are requiring. Maybe they need some, maybe they need to open some different kind of account, or maybe they need to invest in something, or maybe take the money out from there. So all these things can directly happen on the app as well.
Great. Thanks for that. That makes a lot of sense. And like you mentioned, the bank app would provide multiple services, right,
Yeah,
including mobile payments and wallets and things like demat accounts and so forth. In addition to transactional uh, updates, right?
yeah, yeah,
Now, someone who's generally someone who generally likes to visit bank branches and deal in cash using the app temporarily. One of the things that banks can do would also be talk about some of the safety measures, right? Maybe there's a new plexiglass barrier between the cashier and you, right? And
yeah,
ATM machines probably are completely contactless. You can use your
yeah,
phone and scan a QR code and uh, operate the entire machine on your mobile app itself.
yep,
So some of those security protocol that you're following at the branch and ATM machines and physical locations can be communicated to build that trust with them. And also, like you mentioned, the other services that the app provides, right? In addition to self-serve, banks can use notifications both in app and mostly push notifications, because like we do not check our banking apps multiple times a day, let's face it, right? So to make them aware of the other services and the other things that they can do with the app. I hope that answers your question. So we don't have any more questions coming in. And if our viewers, if you have any questions, you can post them here, or you can even contact either Anand or me directly through LinkedIn, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you have with respect to customer engagement and how things are shifting as the lockdown gradually opens and as countries and economies slowly get back to normal. Now, some closing thoughts. if you found this session insightful, and if there was something that you found practically useful, and you feel that folks in your network would also find it useful, do share it with your network, and do follow hashtag breaking new ground for other sessions, because we come up with these sessions and insights all on a weekly basis. So keep an eye out, and watch the space for the next episode next week. With that, I would like to thank you, Anand, for joining us today. Some really insightful strategies and tactics shared
Thanks,
today.
Sajeesh, and
It was a
thanks
pleasure.
everyone for tuning in.
Great. Thanks, everyone. Take care. Bye.
Take care. Bye.